Welcome to Game Pass News. It is March 17th. It is St. Patty's Day. It is St. Patty's Day, and I'm here with my favorite co-host, Mr. Sean Abbott, and the king of the Elden Ring himself, Mr. Hambone Johnny. You have such a good name to do that with. Like, I could just kept going with that, like the ending of that. Just like,
Go
boom.
for it, man. What's going on?
Yeah, it is. Thanks you guys. Thanks for being here, man. Thank you too, Sean. I'm really glad you showed up again this week. Every week, I'm like, is he gonna come again, or is he gonna be like, screw that guy, I'm done. So I appreciate it that you're still here. How you doing, Sean?
Oh, I'm good. And I am full in all the time, every week. Love this. In fact, I was in the gym the other day. I was literally thinking, if I ever met Nick in real life, how would I actually walk up to him and say hello? But I like do the whole gentleman thing of shaking your hand, and I was like, no, I'd full on give that guy a hug.
Oh, I would, yeah, man, yeah. Although, but you're like 6'5". It would be awkward, probably. I think I'd probably like. Aren't you like
6'1"?
Oh, 6'1". I thought you. Sorry. Okay. Well, okay, so it wouldn't be too bad because trust me, like there are some guys, and I'm just like 5'8", and I feel like every year I get shorter and shorter. I'm like that old woman, so like there are some guys I'm like I'd hug you, but man, that would be super awkward. Like,
6 foot high and 5 foot wide.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. So Mr. Hambone Johnny, that was how are you, man? Thanks for coming on. Second time, return guest. Thanks for being here.
Loving it. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm having a great day. I do have a question for you guys. I actually have a little bit of a situation I wanted to raise.
Oh, yeah.
So we had a little bit of a roadkill thing happen yesterday with my wife. So I'm home with my son, picked him up from school, and my wife was out shopping. And she comes home and she's like, there was a little bunny, and then he ran, and then I heard a thump. And I was like, oh no, the bunny. So I was like, did you hit it or not? And she's like, I'm not sure. I don't know.
I hit something.
So she had to run back out to get pizza because that's what we were having for dinner last night. And I get a text 5 minutes later, and she goes, there was definitely a flat bunny down the street. So I'm like, okay. No. So this morning, I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm just gonna, bring my kid to school, all the normal stuff. And I'm driving down the road, and like 2 houses down, there's this bunny. So I feel personally responsible that we've like littered death in our neighborhood. So what's the protocol here? Do I go down with like a shovel 2 houses down and like scoop this bad boy and bring him back home and toss him in the woods? Or do I just leave it and let the authorities take care of the matter?
Now, are you like in suburbia? Like, I mean,
houses. I'm in suburbia. It's not a cul-de-sac, but it's kind of like a closed off like street. Yeah.
Yeah, because that matters, like we're kind of in suburbia too, but like my mom is kind of in the country, so you could hit an entire deer there and just leave it, and nobody would like think twice about it, quite frankly. Oh man, that's tough. I don't know. I do agree with Ebucel. You just get Drew. Like Drew would just throw it in his trash can and call it a day. I mean, that's what he would do.
See, like I've watched shows like from America, and isn't there a guy, like a pest control style guy, that you can kill that basically comes and deals with?
Yeah, but he's already dead. I mean, there's what are we gonna do here? You're gonna pay a guy $50 just to like shovel him up?
If it was right in my yard, I would just take it and like toss it into the woods and be done with it. Let nature handle the problem. But like, do I go and claim responsibility for something?
You just like walk down the street with a shovel on your back.
A shovel with a half of a bunny hanging off the back. I don't know.
That'll be the last time you get invited to the neighborhood block party.
Yeah.
No, what you need to do is you need to full on dress like Elmer Fudd and walk out and walk back with it, just whistling as if you've got Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
Right. You just dress in like Hunter Orange, call it a day. Put it on like one of those stringer things.
Oh yeah. There's dinner. Hey, you got dinner tonight, guys.
Yeah. That'd be great. I love it.
So otherwise we're doing good here.
Yeah, I would probably just let nature handle it personally. I guess that's where I would fall. But I do appreciate the idea of you being in Hunter Orange, just like walking through the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, over in my neck of the woods, it is planting season. So like we're very much country, and so it takes me like twice as long right now to get to work, because I'm behind like a buggy carrying some like old school style plow or like disc machine, and then I'm behind like a brand new like tractor which also is carrying a disc machine. Like, it's ridiculous around here. Like, you city folk talk about like these traffic jams. Let me tell you, man, when it's planting and harvesting season in the country, it'd take you twice as long just because you're behind the tractor and that thing ain't moving for nothing. He's like, screw you, I'm just doing.
They don't move on. They don't like drive on the side of the road or anything. They just full on take up the whole thing.
Well, I mean, so they drive, it is a disc machine. So to be fair, it's got a really wide back. So like it covers half the road. It covers half the road, like one whole lane, So I have to go around him. Some will try to pull over. Some are like, F you. I try to be real nice about it. I don't, because I know they are farmers. They got to get that thing down there somehow. There's no other way to do it. But it is kind of frustrating. You have some guys that are like, wah, wah. I'm like, buddy, he's a tractor. What do you want?
Yeah, what do you want him to do?
Yeah,
he's like 15 miles an hour tops, right? And then just like maxed out.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm sorry. I am one of those city folk. What is a disc machine?
So it breaks up the ground from the previous year, basically.
Got it.
It rips it all up.
Like a big hoe.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
Got it.
I was trailing behind a hoe for 40 minutes. That's what I was doing. That's it. Just a big old hoe. All right, that's the end of that. Let's move on now. I can always take us somewhere we shouldn't be. We lost Sean. We've lost Sean, which really screws up my boxes because now you're Sean and Sean Abbott's Hambone Johnny. I tell you, what's up with that?
Hey, you know what? You're just going with the flow over here.
That's right. I expect a UK accent for the rest of the show. Top stories. I guess our top story is the fact that there was an ID Xbox, which is kind of like their Nindy, the indie version of Xbox showcase. Except, wow, their ID Xbox live streams are awful. Like, I don't know how else. Did you? I hope you didn't watch it. But did you see it?
I tried to watch it.
Watch me do this in real time.
Yeah, that's look at you go. That's awesome. You're just dancing around there. I tried to watch this thing, and then I logged on, and there was two people on there talking about a game. Hey, we're gonna test it out, and I was like, this is not at all what I expected.
Yeah.
Maybe we're spoiled from like the way Nintendo presents things, but yeah, that was not great.
I cannot agree with you anymore. I mean, man, that is like, okay, I look at an indie direct or whatever they're called, that the Nindy directs that Nintendo does, and I'm like, well, it was a little slow in that part, and it could have been faster here, and the pacing really lost it there. This is like literally what we're doing. It's 20 minutes of like 30 games, boom, 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 boom. Now, from now on, man, I'm going to be like that. Let me tell you, compared to an ID Xbox, that thing was spot on and beautiful. Seriously, it was 2.5 hours of 40 games. You'd have like a 10-minute interview and then a 30-second trailer. It was, I don't know. It's awful. That's all I can really say.
It really reminded me of like, kind of like a Nintendo Treehouse.
Yeah.
And I do not like watching those.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I was about to say they should have been like all the reels and a quick like description from the two main people that were doing it, and then okay, now we're going to move over to like an in-depth conversation with the developers on this game and this game, so it gave people a chance to switch off after 2 hours.
Yeah, they need to do something with that, because that, you are right. Except I would even say that the Treehouse is more exciting because there's at least more gameplay. This is really like, hey, meet Bob and Joe and Bill, and God bless you, developers. Have your moment in the sun. That's fine. But it's like, now let's talk for 10 minutes about why they wanted to make this wrestling game. And it's like, oh my gosh. I mean, let me just play your game or see more game footage or anything. I don't know. Anyways, let's get because there was some cool stuff. There's a lot of stuff announced over the 2.5 hour deal. Well, let me throw it. Sean, was there any particular game that sticks out to you that you're like super excited for in this idea?
Was it Escape Academy? Was probably the only one that I really thought I'd be interested in.
Yeah, so that's the game where it's It's you're in a it's like a high school, but it's a high school to teach you how to get past escape rooms. I thought that might be a Jesse game because I know he's always talking about escape rooms.
Yeah, it is, but it's also by who it's made by. I think it's the guys that got behind. Can't remember the name of them now, but got behind BioShock Infinite.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say we have it listed as I am 8-bit. They don't ring a bell to me, but that might.
I'm sure it was to the Google. I'm sure it was Skyloft. That's what's ringing a bell. But yeah, that's the one I'm looking forward to the most.
All right.
I like how the graphics look, and I really like escape rooms. I like the puzzles. It's like if I'm playing a mobile game, it's usually like an escape room style. Mobile game.
Hambone, what about you, man? Any of them really interest you?
Yeah. I think Escape Academy was one of the ones that caught my eye too. I'm not usually a huge first person game player, but in a game like that, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
So that looked pretty cool. The other one that caught my attention was Floppy Nights. First off, because of the title.
No, that's good. That is a good title.
And secondly, because it seemed pretty cool, like a tactical kind of strategy game with like deck kind of merged together. The art style seemed really cool. Kind of reminded me of Dicey Dungeons, I think.
Yeah.
If I'm thinking about the right game. So that seemed pretty cool. And I do want to see more about Flintlock. That sort of caught my attention. I'm not usually a shooter fan per se, but if you mix in some RPG elements, that can catch my attention. So I just need to see more of that. I'm not sure if I'm sold quite yet.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. I was interested in Flintlock. I did when I saw it though, and it was like I saw the environment and everything. I thought, well, I'll just keep playing Elden Ring. I mean, it looks like an Elden Ring with guns. That's kind of what it looks like. To me, I mean, you're right. I don't know a lot, so it might not be anything like that. But that was like the vibe I got when she was walking through the deserted like landscape. I'm gonna be real honest. There wasn't a lot that caught my attention that was coming to Game Pass. There were some things that caught my attention, and I was bummed to see that at the moment, at least, if we've learned anything from Tunic, you don't really know until you know. But I was bummed to see that Curse to Golf wasn't going to be a Game Pass game because that looks super fun to me, and it'll scratch that sports story itch that just doesn't seem to want to show itself. So I was interested in that, and I am not a wrestling guy, but this just looks really funny. This Wrestle Quest.
Yes.
I mean, I want to see more of that because I think it might be turn based. I was watching.
It looked like an RPG.
Yeah.
It both of those games had sports story sort of vibes.
Yeah.
Obviously with the pixelated art style, but just like the way you're maneuvering around the environments and stuff like that. Both of those seem really interesting to me. And I'm not a wrestling guy either. Last time I watched wrestling was probably when Macho Man was back in his heyday, right?
Right. Yeah.
So that hits some nostalgia for me for sure.
Yeah, so those are the ones that interested me. Trek to Yomi, I was only interested on because I was actually thinking of picking that up in our video game league, and so I was like, oh, it's come again, Game Pass game. Maybe I will pick it up. I don't. There is Kraken Academy is also coming out March 22nd, which we'll probably talk about more in the June to come out. Before I just run through these, is there anything else that you were interested in, Sean?
No, I did.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I struggle with indie games. So like Tunic, I don't. If I'd have looked at Tunic and it not come to Game Pass, I probably wouldn't have ever played it because it's an indie developed game, and I wouldn't be too sure about it. I don't get excited for the indie direct from Nintendo. So
really, I did not know that about you.
No, I now know not to get excited about the ID ones from Xbox, especially if I have to sit through 2.5 hours worth of video to maybe find something that I'm interested in. But I don't know. There is my feeling with indie games is there's that many that come out. I love the fact that small developers are getting the opportunity to do things, but there is so many that comes out. It's sometimes hard to find that diamond in the rough. So
Yeah, you really got to keep your ear to the ground to like kind of pay attention to the rumblings of like Tunic was getting those rumblings of like, oh, this could be a good game. This looks like it might be good, you know. And so I was pretty excited about that. The crazy thing about that game is we actually reported a week or two ago, and it wasn't like a rumor. It was a statement made by the developer that said, "Listen, we think Game Pass is a great model, but not for new games." And so, I mean, we literally were like, hey, this game isn't going to come to Game Pass. Like, the developer just said X, Y, and Z. But, you know, that's the developer. It's not the publisher. And when they signed on with that publisher, they don't, as we found out with Outriders, they don't, even if they don't like the game, even if they don't like the model, they don't always have the control when they sign a contract with the publisher. So that is very interesting. Now, I don't know if that's the case here, but that statement I thought was pretty interesting. And then to see it like shadow drop that way. Anything else on this ID Xbox, guys, before we move on?
I'm just happy we're hearing something from them. I know,
Yeah.
you know, we've been complaining recently that, hey, you know, what's the roadmap for the rest of this year? And I know it's a lot of indies and everything. I just like to hear something, even if the games don't really, you know, meet your expectations or what have you. So it's nice to get some sort of communication.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I do think that Xbox has got to get their shit together and come out with some roadmap for first party stuff, whatever that means in the Xbox studios now.
I've got a big feeling that there's a lot of things going off in the background with them at the moment that will either show itself later on in the year or, unfortunately, early next year because of the acquisition and everything that we talk about most weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a feeling that that's probably taking up a lot of process. And then you've got all the current events that are happening in the world post-pandemic. So I think there's maybe a lot of things that might take its time. So.
Yeah, but it's and I don't want to go too down this rabbit hole because we talk about this a lot, but or we've talked about it quite a few times at least. But it's like what they have all these studios. It almost seems like it's a guy, you know, like when your kid comes in and their hands are like full of everything. They've grabbed everything that they needed from the car because Lord forbid they have to walk the 20 feet to go back out to the car, and they're just like coming. I feel like sometimes that's Xbox with all their studios. They're like, wait, no, we're gonna get you something. We have it, and then they all just kind of fall to the ground, and you're like, oh shit, now you got to pick them all back up. I mean, because it's just like they have so much.
I literally had that this evening with Logan. He came in from school and he had like his book bag was inside another big bag because he brought his whole like dentist book home. It's come with like loads of toys that are made to represent for cleaning teeth, and there was just loads of them, plus all like the toys that he had in the car anyway. And he was stood in the hallway and he's like, I'm gonna drop these, and like, we'll just put them in the bag. And he was like, no, I don't want to, but just it'll be easier to put them in the bag. No, I really don't. Let's Logan, just put the toys in the bag. No, Logan. And then he started, I had a full-blown tantrum. Yeah. So I took the toys off and put them all in the bag, then passed him the bag, and he kind of stopped and went, thanks, Daddy, and walked off.
I feel like there's a real analogy here with Microsoft and all of their studios and everything you just said. I'm not gonna lie, like, I don't want to let go of this stuff. So yeah, that's moving on though. Perfect Dark has had a serious fallout. They've lost their director. They have unfollowed. This is literally like a playground fight. I'm not kidding you. They have unfollowed all of Microsoft's The Initiative, which is supposed to be this this development group of a bunch of like star developers that came together. They have unfollowed all of Microsoft's social media accounts. Like this is like full on like boyfriend girlfriend breakup mode at this point. I mean, yeah. It's pretty childish.
It's brutal. Talk about high school drama.
I know.
Yeah, I'm gonna say.
It's crazy. There's not a whole lot to say here. I want to sit in this one for a little bit, and I know this is like a rumor that's not a rumor because it's an obvious. But what do we think it could be? Codename Keystone could be the next Xbox console. Okay, we know there's a next Xbox console, whatever that looks like. We know it's happening. Yeah. So what do we think? What do we think this could be? That's here. There's enough rumor here that there's probably a little smoke. What do we think we're talking about?
I don't think you're going to have it on a stick because I think you kind of need some amount of processor in there or processing power to kind of handle everything. A bit of internal memory things like that. So I think you're going to get like the original Apple TV, like the 3 inch by 3 inch black square that's like an inch and a half thick.
Oh yeah, okay.
I think you're going to get something that sized, which is just basically like a mains power cable in and a HDMI out, and it's going to be a small streaming style box, desktop box. That's it.
Yeah, I think that really honing in on the key piece of things, right? This is going to unlock your access to all these like Xbox games, right? But I do think they're going to like lean into, the cloud aspect a lot more with that. Who knows? But yeah, it could be something like that.
If Xbox came out with one of those blocks, what would y'all pay for it? Like, what would you? Like, let's assume you want it. Maybe you're not interested at all. That's fine. But let's assume, like, what would get you to be like, maybe.
I'd say the price of 150, 1 terabyte was 1 terabyte solid state drive. Go for
About as much as the S. It's close though. It's like it's not that far off.
Yeah, it's got they sort of locked themselves if they're trying to do something that's even lighter than the S. They've kind of pigeonholed themselves into a price point, right? It's got to be under 300 US.
Yeah,
it's maybe like 2.
Yeah, I'm not buying. I'm not biting for 2. I can't. I just
150 to 160 pounds. So yeah, you're looking at 200 to 220 US.
No way. No way. I'm not buying
buy
that.
an S.
Yeah,
buy an S.
Buy an S.
What about if they don't package it with a controller? And they market it as, hey, got multiple TVs, you've got your S or your X downstairs, you want to put something in your bedroom or playroom or something like that. Bring your controller here. We're going to give you an option, and that could cut down the cost and say 150. What would that do for you?
So take the $65 away for the controller, 75. And maybe make it just 500 gig solid state. You can half the price, take it down to one.
No, there's not going to be. There's not going to be a hard drive in this. No way.
No, I think you're still going to have because you pigeonhole yourself then on only being able to use it when you've got good internet. If your internet bounces in and out, the whole thing is absolutely useless.
Yes, I agree. Yes, no, there's no way. I tell you. All right, we're gonna do a good old end dad bet. Because we know it's coming. I will give you. I don't know if I can do this. I think I can. I just have to find a way to get a UK thing. I will give you 3 months of Game Pass if it has a hard drive. If you want to take this bet.
Yeah. Okay. If I lose, you get 3 months. That's
okay.
Easy.
Fair enough. Yeah. This is a streaming device. That's why I think it's going to be super cheap. It's going to be like $50 to $75. It's like a Google Chrome.
That would be amazing. Yeah, Google Chrome or like a Fire Stick or something like that. That would be great.
Yeah,
I do love what Simple Monk has in the chat here. Wish it was a portable handheld. That would be. Really
my
cool.
gosh. Yeah. Although I will say, not that you can get a Stream Deck in the next 3 years, but I will say that they did just start putting Xbox apps and games. They just started to get that on the Stream Deck. So that's Phil's baby. Like he tweets out about what Steam is doing over there a lot, and I think I called it the Stream Deck. It's not the Stream Deck, it's the Steam Deck. My bad. So
I can't say not having a hard drive just for saving local things. Just for saving local things like profiles and things like that.
What do you think, Handphone? You're not in the bet. Just give us your 2 cents. It's okay.
No hard drive.
No hard drive? Yeah.
No. Sorry, Sean.
2 to 1. I like it.
I love it. All right, so that will be interesting to see, folks, as that comes down the pike. I hope that it is just a streaming thing, and so it might just be part of my hope, because I can plug that, like right now, I could plug that into my TV upstairs, and I could make up all my time in Tunic, which we'll talk about later. Real quick. I'm sorry. All right, news bulletin. Sean, what's going on with Xbox and sustainability? I didn't read it, so I'm going to let you take it.
Yeah, so as most big companies in the world, they are pushing forward to being carbon negative, water positive, zero waste by a set date. Xbox and Microsoft made themselves a stretch target of 2030 to be completely sustainable. So carbon negative, water positive, so on and so forth. So they're just giving basically an update of what they're doing, which to kind of summarize, and they do this at the top of the article. They'll design Xbox products and accessories, all product packaging to be 100% recyclable. Last year, they made improvements to console energy saver sleep mode, so it's now 20 times less powerful, or it uses 20 times less power when in standby mode. And games can be updated and downloaded during that kind of mode, which is a great thing to do, because I do it at work. I kind of I jump on the Game Pass app when a game comes out, and I set it downloading, come home, and it's done. So which is great. And they're also going along with post-consumer recycled products and resins within the Xbox Series S and the controllers. So they're making a big target to try and do this. They're saying inside the Series S, 28% of post-consumer recyclables resins are going to be used in that. They've got controllers now, the Electric Volt and the Daystrike Camo, which are both available to buy. 30% external recyclable products and 50% internals. Just great things like that. I love the I work for a big company that's trying to go carbon negative at the moment. I work for a power station that's trying to do it. So we get behind this quite heavily.
Sure.
But even packing and shipping, they're basically just going all in, which is nice to see.
Mm-hmm.
So sure. All it was a quick bulletin just to say that they are pushing out as much, driving it as hard as they can to become cleaner, better, cool, and still keep up with getting everything to everyone on time.
I like it. That is our top stories for the week, folks. There's a lot there. We will throw these games. Sean, can we do this? Throw the games that are coming out for Game Pass that were announced in ID. Can we throw that in our notes for the podcast so that they can see them?
I'll take that list.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can do that in the description.
Yeah. We'll throw that list in the description. That way you can kind of look over them if you're interested in seeing more. So you got a quick place to go get it. Quick place to go look at them. Our Xbox Spotlight. Listen, we want Hambone Johnny on whenever, but we brought him on this week because this man has been playing Elden Ring with us from the beginning, except he's 17 bosses further than us because he's freaking amazing at it. And I'm still trying to figure out how to use magic.
Not amazing. Not amazing. It's more quantity over quality. I'd say is my play style. Yeah.
Man, we've talked about Elden Ring, and we'll jump in on our newest thoughts. But Hambone, give us what are your general how do you feel about Elden Ring? How are you liking it? What are your pet peeves? Give us what you got.
I love it. And I'll start by saying this is my first Soulsborne, whatever you want to call this genre. Never played one before. Had kind of always been interested, but never took the plunge. And when I saw the reviews come out and a few folks in the Discord being like, yeah, let's jump in and play. I'm like, all right, I'm sold. I need a game to play before Kirby comes out. Didn't really have anything going on. Wasn't into triangle strategy at that moment in time. Sure. So I'm like, this is it. Let's do it. And I love it. I will say that there's so many systems to understand. Even when you start the game, I know you mentioned this, I think last week, right, Nick? What class do you pick? So I'm sitting there the first night and I'm like, I didn't know this was a decision. I'm not ready. I thought I was just going to go start stabbing things. So it pulls up the list and it shows you whatever the three classes are, warrior, hero, and something else. And I'm like, oh, which one of these three do I pick? Had no idea there was 10 choices. So that I scroll over, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Ended up going with the samurai because I read a guide just to be like, I'm a newbie.
Right.
What should I pick? So I picked the samurai, but I also
Team Samurai.
yeah, Team Samurai, baby. Um, all these guides, I have not found one good like noob guide.
Yeah.
It's all like everything I read was like, what kind of play style do you want to go for? And I'm like, I have no idea. I want to
Yeah.
play the game. Like, help me out here. Throw me a bone. But you know, I guess what I learned, and now that I know after playing the game for a bit, depending on how you start, you really can shape your character to do whatever you want.
It is true. Yeah.
If you want to be more melee, you can. If you want to use more magic, you can. If you want to be hybrid, you can. And there's all little bits and bobs in between. All the different stats and how they build off of each other, super confusing. Like,
oh yeah.
I'd say for the first, and I'm probably still even learning, but for the first like 20 to 30 hours, every time I booted up the game, I was like, oh, that's what that does, or that's what that
right.
means.
Right.
Because I realized like I normally I'm somebody who wants to take in all the information, assess my choices, and kind of like plot a path. And I just had to throw that out the window with this game. I'm just going to play it. And if I hit a roadblock, I'll look up a guide. Like, I know this is going to be super hard. So if I get stuck, I'm not going to feel bad about looking up a guide. So I just jumped in and started playing. I wanted to use magic. I'm like, how do I use magic? I have all these spells. I don't have a staff. I'm like, okay, well, let's go find a staff. I found a staff. I'm like, well, I can use these magic spells, but I can't use those magic spells. Like, what the heck? There's a difference between incantations and sorcery, apparently. Yep. So I learned that. There's all these items in my inventory that I've been picking up. I've crafted arrows like 4 times. Like, I no longer use a bow. I don't craft anything. Like, I'm sure I'm making myself make it a lot harder for myself. I have no idea. The weapons, I was annoyed at first, right? You beat a boss and you're like, look at this badass sword. Like, I want to use this cleaver looking thing.
Yeah.
And I don't have the strength for it, or I don't have the intelligence, or I don't have this, or whatever the stat is. But I've come around to appreciating that, right? It's like, oh, okay, this really is what they meant about what sort of play style you want to have. And as you get more into the game, you can see like, okay, like I'm having trouble up close, so maybe I want to be more ranged, or hey, my ranged attacks aren't doing as much damage, maybe I want to play a little bit quicker. And if you think about like this compared to like Breath of the Wild, you can use any weapon in Breath of the Wild and they all act differently, and that's cool. But this game really forces you down a more closed path depending on how you've statted out your character, which is cool. I've also learned that you can restat and reallocate your points after a certain period of time, which is cool. So,
you can? I didn't know that.
You can. You have to beat a certain boss, and you have to get a certain item in order to do it. But it's possible.
Is that the room full of witches?
Yes, the floaty death witch. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I love this game. Nobody can remember any of the names of any of the enemies. So it's like, oh yeah, the floaty death witch. Oh Maggie. Boss Randy.
Yeah. No idea, man. I'm bad with names as it is, and when you start throwing out all like the Wicked Witch of the West, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's trying to kill me. I'm trying to kill it. Like, let's get it done.
It is known to me only as dead.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I'm really liking it. The story is there-ish. I have no idea.
Okay, good. I'm glad to know. I don't know. I mean,
it's there for like, I understand there was like this world with some sort of god queen, and then there was a war, and a ring is now 5 pieces of a ring or something, and it corrupted all these people, and now people have hands like sticking out of their heads somehow.
Yeah, my understanding of it is the realm that you're in is like the Never. So you are in that in between of the afterlife and the real world. And I think that's where everybody's trapped. And the new Tarnished come because they have passed away, and you've gone into the next realm. And that's why we've got all the horrifically disfigured looking creatures everywhere.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my full understanding
that's my
of it.
favorite comment. Well, that's helpful.
Ubicel brings up a good point. What is the deal with the fingers? Why is everything a finger? The 2 fingers, the furled finger, the bloody finger. Like I haven't been able to wrap my head around what any of that is. That's weird.
Some guy just really likes
I'm just
fingers.
going with it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Like that's it. You just gotta go with it. Like just have fun. Don't think too deep into it. I chose Team Confessor. I'm pretty sure that I'm the only one in the entire world. I don't even know why. Oh, I know why. It had the highest level, which in my head was like, well, okay, it's the highest level. I guess I'll choose that. That was not really. Although it did end up working out for me because I ended up being somebody who doesn't want to be up close, and he does have the option, the option the soonest. Well, except for I think there's like a sorcerer or something. Anyways, of being able to use magic, and so that was great. I did realize though, as I kind of peeled off of it to play Tunic, I did realize that my experiment has utterly failed. Because I wanted to like walk away from this game and love it or absolutely hate it. And I don't either. Like I'm not in love with it. I don't hate it. When FromSoft brings out the next Souls game, I'm going to be just as torn as I was with Elden Ring. I'm going to be like, I don't know. I kind of had fun. I'm not going to know. I'm just not. And so that did not work out.
I'm completely different. I'm going to keep playing Elden Ring because I spent the money to buy it physically. I'm going to continue to play it. But I wouldn't buy into another Souls game. They are not my genre. They are... It's unforgiving. And I don't like a game that's consistently unforgiving. I don't mind a game where, like, yes, it's hard to do this. It's hard to get past this boss. But then after that, you kind of like, I got an awesome upgrade or I got an awesome item, which now makes my next 2 or 3 hours of gameplay an absolute doddle. This is like, yeah, that was really hard, but guess what? This guy's really harder, and you got bugger all for beating that guy. So let's just go sit in a corner and cry and get over it and carry on.
How far in are you, Sean?
I still haven't beaten Maggie.
All right. So what I will say is that my other takeaway from this game is that it does a great job of making you feel like a total badass, and then just like putting you in a diaper the next minute and be like, you suck. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it is after the fact of beating Miss Maggie. You've got to get over that first boss. You've got to grind up and do what you got to do to be able to beat that. Because as you open up more areas and you level up your character, you're going to find places where you're just going to house. Like you're going to go back and explore Limegrave, the nice area, the nice area,
the greenest area. That's I rate it. The green area is the nice area. The red area I can't go in.
Yeah, the Red Death area. Stay away from there for now. But you're going to go back to the green area and be like, this is awesome, like so great. And then you're going to ride your magical horse like 2 minutes to the north, and you're going to clip an ankle of some troll, and you took out the tiniest sliver of health, and then you're going to have your oh shit moment and have to ride away very quickly. Like nope the heck on out of there. But yeah, once you get to that point and you're like, I feel so powerful, there's a lot more to do. But some of the bosses are still tough. You're still going to have to figure out the patterns and things like that, but at least getting through those areas. Like I remember the first like catacombs or whatever I went in, it took me like 2 hours to get through that thing because those little like golem guys just kept slicing my face off. But you're going to go back there like in 10 hours from now, and you're just going to wreck house. So it's pretty cool.
In the first stream I did of it, I actually screamed live on stream at one of them that jumped out. So
I'm sorry. If anybody, you feel
I'm
sorry
for
too. Yeah, we're all a little sorry about this. If anybody's interested, my finest piece of work that I've done, which isn't much, but I made a death counter for Sean's first hour of Elden Ring play, and it's just like one death after another, and I count them while he dies, and you get to see his reaction to every one. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. It gradually gets worse as well. That video is me going to get towards the end of trying to beat the wooden cat, the first like hard boss that you kind of stumble into. And I go from it like being okay with the game being difficult to like literally on stream going, I'm so gonna just take this game back.
There's a lot of F words at the end. That is for sure.
Yeah. Can't play that game around kids. So.
Yeah. No.
For lots of reasons. The bloody fingers really that tends to make him squeamish. Yeah, I don't know. I'm at Hansi. Which, by the way, let's step back. Okay, this group that we have, this has been my favorite part of Elden Ring. I don't know if I would have as near as high opinion if it wasn't for the three of us, and then also John from Dad's After Dark is part of it. And,
you got Joe in there too.
Oh,
I haven't heard from
Joe
in a while, but Joe's in.
Joe, yeah. We need to reach out to him, make sure he's still tarnished.
Yeah, I was gonna check in on him. I haven't heard from him in a while.
He's like, "What are you talking about? I'm already the Elden Lord." He's like, yeah, right? "I didn't have time for you people." Yeah. So we have the first boss, which his actual name is Margit. Is that correct? Is that
Margit, the Elden fella.
Yeah. The fell omen.
Yeah, which we have aptly named Margie, and then you move on to Godric. Is that right?
Godric.
Yeah, okay. Which if you put Godric into your text, it immediately autocorrects to Goodrich. So, and he has a few hands, so we renamed him Hansi the Tire Man. Then this is actually where I step off because I have not got past Godric yet. I'm like at his front door, but he keeps ringing my bell. What is the other guy's name? You call him Randy. What's his real name? Do you know?
Oh, it's like Rodhan, Radahn, Radan,
Radhan. I don't know. Yeah. So we've affectionately named him Randy. And so that group has been pretty fun, hilarious too, and just kind of giving all kinds of laughter to the thing.
It's kept me entertained when I wake up in the morning because you guys, obviously being 5 hours behind, you do all your gaming while I'm asleep. So I wake up in the morning to like 50, 60 messages through that group, and I'm just flicking through it thinking, what the fuck are these guys on about?
You just wait, Sean. You just wait.
Who's
the floaty death witch, we didn't even name her because I was trying to hold off on any spoilers because after Goodrich the Tire Man,
I watched my friend Andy go through that battle with the witch, and he went from like I literally saw in the stream he went from like being really excited about how easy the witch was to then how difficult she gets. She's two phases.
Phase two is tough. It's not as bad as Margit and the Hammer. I still think that boss is more difficult. And maybe it's because I've leveled up a bunch, but the floaty death witch for me was a little bit easier than Margie.
The second part of Godric is kicking the crud out of me. I cannot.
Oh my gosh.
I could not get. I was like, oh yeah, this is easy. I'm just whacking him. All of a sudden, he does his thing. I don't want to give it away. He does his thing, and I'm like, what the hell? And then then he just blows me out of the water.
I cannot tell you how many times I've just sat there and been like, what the is going on with this? You know, first you walk up and the guy's got the hands everywhere. Like, oh, no wonder why he can't get a hand in this game because he took them all.
Yeah. You've got all the fingers. Great, thanks.
Yeah, exactly. And then he does his thing, and then it's just next level. Like, okay, you know, this is a serious situation I found myself in.
Which, can we talk about the boss agility? Listen, I equip like a medium-sized axe, and I can't freaking move at all. This guy has 70 hands with an axe in each one, and he's 30 feet up in the air flipping around like he's like some kind of acrobat. I'm like, how? This is not even near fair. Like how does he have all this agility with 10 axes? And I equip one, and I'm like, I can't roll anymore because I'm.
You should give yourself a pumpkin head, and you'll be all good to go.
Yeah,
you can't do anything.
Pumpkin boy.
Can you even roll? Can you even roll with that thing?
Oh, I can.
Oh, he moves. He moves.
Yeah, as long as you push up your endurance, you can wear whatever you want. As long as you stay under 70% max equipment load, you're good to go. So once I got that pumpkin helm, I'm like, I need to like this is my jam. I need to figure out how I'm going to equip this thing.
Yeah.
And those helms, they take a beating because I know when I go up against the pumpkin guys, It's like you definitely have to attack from the back or wait until they
Yeah.
get through their attack cycle. Because if you hit that helmet, it like literally does 2 damage.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's which by the way, I've killed the pumpkin guy like 5 times, and all I get is a sanctuary stone, which I don't even know what it does. But all I want is the dang pumpkin helmet, and I've gotten 5 sanctuary stones from that guy.
I picked up like cracked crystal earlier today, like 75 mushrooms. Like, what am I doing with all this stuff? I have no idea.
All right. Anything else we need to shout out about Elden Ring that you guys wanna touch on before we move on?
Nah, I think I've juiced that orange for enough for today.
It's good. It's very good. It's very unforgiving. They've done a very good. I don't know if any Silver Souls games like this, but they've done a very good job of making a game horrendously difficult but stupidly addictive at the same time. So well done, done from software.
Yeah, it really is. I cannot tell you why, but man, you do want to just go back into that world, and I don't know why I want to. There's not a grand story. I'm not really good at it. But I think that's the thing. Like, I want to be like, okay, I think I can do this. Just let me try one more time. I don't know.
It's that one more attempt.
Yeah.
Plus, if you dropped a bunch of runes out there, you're like, oh, if I forget, if I take a break, I'm gonna forget where I put them.
Oh my gosh, no kidding. I will admit, this is one of the few games that I have cheated the hell out of. Like, I mean, I literally just sit in front with a guide. Like, my fireball spell was no longer any good. I'm like, okay, what is the best spells? And then I'm like, I can't get that one. That one's too tough. Oh, I can get that guy. And so it's like, that's literally how I've played this game. And I have zero qualms about it. I still love it just as much. Because it's so difficult.
No shame in that. Games are supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
So I don't shame anybody for if they want to play pure or if they want to cheese it out. Do your thing.
I definitely cheesed it out at that one point with a big ghost-looking giant. Just sat on the side of the hill and watched him. Like, you do your thing.
Well, that's what. Yeah. John was like, "Oh, you already beat the dining room guys?" Like, I had trouble with that. I was like, "Man, I just jumped back in an elevator room and just like hit him with fireballs. He couldn't get to me. I was just like, that's how I did it. I wasn't. I play far back in this game. That's how I do. All right, that's Elden Ring. I swear I could tell stories about that game. It has a Breath of the Wild feel where you could tell stories about that game forever. But in the ID Xbox, we didn't talk about it because we're going to talk about it right now. Sean and I have been playing it, and oh boy, have we. Tunic dropped in the ID Xbox. Funny story, wasn't supposed to come out for Game Pass. Didn't think it would. Now it is. We did learn something, though, Sean. If a game is pre-orderable everywhere else, and I don't know if you can put all those words together to make that like I just did, but we're going to go with it. If a game is pre-orderable everywhere else, and you know it's coming to Xbox, but you can't pre-order it on Xbox, that probably means that there's a chance it's coming to Game Pass. Because that was the thing here. I was like, how can I pre-order this on Steam, but I cannot pre-order it for Xbox right now? Like, it makes no sense. And that's why. So, very interesting. Sean, I'm going to let you go first. First thoughts, Tunic.
First thoughts of Tunic. I am in awe of this game. It's... I don't know. Let's go with this. It's... When you first start it up, you've got the whole Zelda. And it's like Link's Awakening meets Link to the Past with how it plays and the map system and stuff like that. And then you get into the combat side of things, and you've got the whole like Elden Ring-esque Breath of the Wild style battle system. So you can defend, you can strike, there's magic. You've got an invincibility when you roll at the right time, things like that. That's brilliant. And then as you get further into the game, there's a whole Metroidvania like layer to this game, and it's just I can't stop thinking about it. I can't wait to play it again. I haven't hit a game like that for a while, where it looks great. There's not many sounds to the game. I don't know if you've noticed that, but when I was playing it last night with the headset on, there isn't many sounds. As in, there isn't footstep sounds to the main character, but you've got the roll sound. The music is beautiful to listen to while you're playing with it. It's very representative of where you are in the game. So the different areas have different tones to the music. And if you're coming up to a boss, there is no music. It just disappears. But yeah, I really like it. It's done. It's like I said earlier. If this was a game that I'd seen just the commercial of, and it didn't come to Game Pass, I would probably have skipped over it. But again, the ability to play a game for free with the Game Pass subscription, I've picked up another game that I absolutely adore.
So it's a tale of two stories for me. We're gonna go with the first story, and I don't want. Okay, so let's just go with my first thoughts. This has a real. Everybody's calling it a Zelda-like. I think it's a Death's Door-like. Like, to be honest, like, just there are Zelda aspects, but man, it's a lot like Death's Door. You got it's more Metroidvania than Zelda is, and that's where you really feel the Death's Door with the really the really well done worlds, where it's like in Death's Door is the same way, where you'll be walking around and then all of a sudden you'll like unlock something will fall down and you'll be like, oh, holy crap, I'm back to the beginning. Like, you're just like, oh, I didn't even realize that's where I was, but now I get it. Okay, and you kind of unlock these shortcuts, and just like you do in any Metroidvania, and you really feel that. The music has that same vibe as Death's Door, where it's just really well done. You are right. I noticed it too, though. Your background sound, or your sound effects, let me put it that way. Your sound effects, like swiping your sword and all that, they're there, but man, they are very faint. And I almost thought about like playing with those levels if that's possible. I didn't look, but because I don't know. I think it's a little off for me, but I understand that they love the music and it is so good. They want to make sure that you hear that above anything else, and I can appreciate that. But this game's no joke. Like, this game is no. Like, yeah, you called it an Elden Ring for the youth, and you might not be wrong. I mean, I walked into the first, and I was kind of taken back by the style. I won't lie, by the color, and it just whatever. And so I was just walking in there, swinging my sword, and it was like whap whap whap, boom, you're done. I was like, oh, okay, all right, that's not how I expected that to go. And so I actually had to go back a couple times and face just the first guy with the sword, and then you find your first like real boss, and that guy, man, I had to go against him a good, I don't know, 5-10 times, somewhere in there. So there is a real combat system here of like, when do I block? When do I dodge? I have a stamina. Once that's gone, I start taking more damage. I become unstable. I mean, it looks like a kid's game, but there's a real combat system here that's pretty serious.
On the flip side of it, if you are very good with your blocking and your dodging, if you are in that last quarter of your health bar, you deal more damage.
Oh, yeah. Yep, you're right.
Mm-hmm. There is this fine balance of keeping your stamina, but also I try to keep my health as low as possible.
That's
because I deal a lot of damage. You can one hit, like even the bigger enemies that you get towards the end. Now, at the beginning, I'm at a point now that with half a health bar and in dipping into that last quarter, I can one hit them, and so I'm just running through the game and doing it. This kind of stuff.
I never really thought about using that as a tactic. It does have some RPG elements. You can level up. It's very minimal RPG elements. Nothing crazy. There's like, I think 5 different stats. You can level up 3 times as I've seen it so far. And so yeah, I love that. I did hit a big issue. I literally hit it like probably a few hours before we podcasted. And I think I'm calming down from it. It was just a real big bummer. So I'm in this area, and you have to unlock these 4 sections. And I just happened to find a way to get to this one section that you're not supposed to be able to get to without a specific item. And I don't think the developers really thought about how that might happen. And so I was able to unlock all the sections. But then once it transports you to the end goal of that map, it takes you to a place that you cannot go unless you have that one item. And I don't have that one item because I found a way around needing to get it. And so I am literally stuck. I am about 5 hours into the game, and there's absolutely no way for me to move forward. My save is over. They auto-saved the moment I transported to this little island that I'm on, and I can't get off of it without the item I don't have. So I literally will have to restart the game. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That happens in new games, you know. I'm sure there'll be a patch to be like, yeah, that one place, if you get up, you can get up there by this way we didn't think about, and now, you know, and so we patch that out. I bet that'll happen at some point.
Yeah, it
Glad I
almost
could
needs
help
the
with
Elden
that.
Ring return to like the Elden Ring esque of return to grace. So like lose some of your in-game
Yeah,
currency and return to the grace.
yeah, that would be fantastic if it could be like, hey, you, because there are these spots on the map where you can like save. It refills all your health and all your bottles and all your potions and all that. And but all the enemies come back as well, and then that becomes your new like spawn point. And so yeah, if I could just be like, hey, I want to go back to my last spawn point, that would be great. I have no way of getting there though. I have no way to kill myself. Can't do it.
Yeah.
So that is a real bummer. It really like tamps down on my excitement. I was coming in here really hot. I've been playing a lot and loving it. So that really is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But with that said, it's still a good game. It's just a miss from the developers.
Yeah, yesterday I put 5 hours in, and today I've put another 5 hours in. And for a game that's 12 hours long, I don't think I'm at a point where I'm near the end yet. So,
are you going around and exploring a lot, or is it?
Yeah, well, I'm getting lost. There is no. This is where you need to go next. So when you first start the game, you pick up these little like floating white squares, and they give you like pages to an instruction book. Now these pages to this instruction book, when you first get the first couple of pages, are great. It tell you that you need to do this certain task, and this is where you need to go to do this task, and this is the things that you need to do in this order to complete this task. As soon as you finish those, there isn't any more help. It's like, if you go into the world, find your own way. But if you, the great thing that I like about the whole map system and the tutorial system is, and I don't know if Nick, you'll have spotted this, but before you delete your save and go back to your, go back to the tutorial screen, the instruction booklet, and flick through the pages, and there is writing that appears that like notes, like you would do in an old instruction booklet for a game, that you kind of make note. I used to as a kid. You make notes on certain pages about how things work. I've now noticed that there's now scribbles coming up.
I did
when
see.
I've discovered other stuff.
I just thought I missed them, but no, they're
no, they
okay.
Yeah, they appear at random. Well, they don't appear at random. They appear at the points where you figured out what that thing does.
Gotcha. So that's
great, and it's like the whole wishing well system. Like, you don't know about the wishing well system yet, but
I don't. You're right. So don't spoil it.
I'm not gonna. That's all I'm gonna say. But that's a fantastic thing in the game that you don't figure out until 5 or 6 hours in, and you're like, oh, that really helps. So
yeah, it is. I am really like I just, it really sours me that I got to start over. But I will start over. I will do
it. So how much is the combat like Death's Door? Because to me, this game is like, oh, this is a green themed Death's Door with a fox. Or is it like, it looks like you can lock on to enemies? I don't think you could have done that in Death's Door. Is there like a ranged attack? Like, how does it play? Is it all like block and sword play, or is it? So
there's block and sword play, and well, at first there's stick play. You get a stick, then you get a sword, then you get a shield.
I like stick play.
Stick
play's the best kind of play.
So there's that aspect of it, but then you do get items that deliver a ranged attack, which use magic points. So your health bar, you've got HP, stamina, or SP, and then MP. So you have you end up with three bars at one point. So you do have a ranged attack.
I'm trying to remember. Do you have a shield in Death's Door? I mean, I beat the game. No. Okay.
You could get an umbrella, but no shield.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. The shield really plays an important role. That's the biggest difference between Death's Door. And I don't know how to say it. The motion of the movement of the fox does not feel as good as the pigeon. Was it a pigeon in Death's Door? Crow, that's it. As the crow in Death's Door. That movement just, for some reason, to me, felt a little bit better than what I'm feeling. It's not like I would say, oh, don't play it, it's awful. But if I'm comparing the two, the movement and combat of that crow feels just a little bit better than the fox. Also, I really don't like the way that you run with the fox. That you have to like push the A button down, he rolls, and then you can hold the A button to run until you hit something, and then he stops running, and you have to do it all over again. That feels clunky to me. But that's just, like little critiques. Overall, the game is really good. But yes, it's very similar minus that shield. That shield really does change how you do combat in this game, in Tunic over Deathstorm. But they're very similar. Cool. Anything else, Sean, before we move
on? No, other than again, it is genuinely a very good-looking game to play. It's very well polished and well finished. I think I got stuck in the graphics once, and I think Jesse from Nintendo has got stuck in exactly the same place. He must have rolled like I did to avoid an attack and then got stuck. So.
That was the other thing we talked about, Sean, that we hadn't mentioned is I have a slight issue with like they hide tunnels behind walls, and that mechanic like frustrates me a little bit. So it's like, okay, you got to go behind this thing, and then you have to just kind of like push your character up against the wall because you can't see the hidden entrance. So it kind of at some point makes you like just run your guy up against the wall until to be like, oh, is there anything over there? Let's just see, it's like I did akin to like the old school Zeldas where you would just kind of be like, let's just start throwing bombs against walls because, who knows, one of these might blow up. That I feel like that's a little outdated, but so that is Tunic. It is live on Game Pass News, or not Game Pass News, on Game Pass. Maybe they'll name it after us someday. Right now, Hambone, you go first, sir. What have you been playing?
Yeah, well, aside from Elden Ring, not much. To be perfectly honest with you, I put like 40 whatever hours into Elden Ring over the last couple of weeks.
That's impressive, man.
But with the new Mario Kart tracks coming out tonight, tomorrow, depending on where you're at, I just trying to brush up on my MK8 skills.
Yeah.
So I was bouncing in there a little bit. So that's been fun. I think that they're out now, if I'm not mistaken.
They went live in the UK at 11 p.m. just as we started.
There you go. Yeah. So after we wrap up here, I'll probably pop in there for a little bit. Check those out. I'm still playing Retro Bowl. I'm 18 seasons into Retro Bowl.
Wow.
Really cool, arcadey, Tecmo Bowl-esque football game. You only play offense, which makes the games go by really fast. You can get through a game in like 5 to 10 minutes or faster.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
It's really cool. There's like a really cool simulation aspect to it where you're managing a team, but like very high level. You have to manage like their attitude and their like health. You can like upgrade the characters, but you have to scout them, the characters, the players. And you do a draft, which is pretty cool. You only do 3 draft picks. It's not like you have to build out a whole 52-man roster. You manage up to 12 players. And you can name the players whatever you want. And I've had a really good time doing that.
Nice.
I've done all of the achievements. There was like somewhere between 30 and 40 achievements, like win 10 Retro Bowls, win games without like your star players, pass for X amount of yards per game, rush for X amount of yards per game. So I've done all of those. I played with my favorite team, San Francisco. And now I have left San Francisco. I am now the coach and owner of the New York Jets, my wife's favorite team that completely suck. So I'm gonna get them to be Retro Bowl champions and then just bop in and out of that game from time to time. But
that's awesome.
Other than Elden Ring, that's what I've been up to.
Sean, what about you, sir?
Well, do you want to do yours? And then I will run mine and slide into the breaking news at the same time.
I love it. I can do that. Breaking news. My breaking news. I beat Breath of the Wild. I literally beat it. It only took me 5 years. No. Man, it's funny how we do silly stuff, right? Like I had 4 hours left in that game. Like Like that's it. It took me 4 hours. I had to beat the bird, and then I went to the castle, and I didn't have to go find anything else. Everything I had on me. I didn't even go buy any extra arrows or anything like that. I just I crafted some meals. That's about it, man.
So just rocked up, went, come at me, Ganon.
Yeah.
Smack. See you later.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I'm not gonna lie, I had to look up how to parry. I couldn't remember. Like, I was like, I know I gotta parry this guy's laser, but I have no idea. I don't remember how to do it at all. So, yeah, I had to do that. And then, I mean, I have a bunch of backlog Zelda games. So, Breath of the Wild's done. I had purchased Skyward Sword and never played it. So I started Skyward Sword. I'm not a big fan of that game, but I'm kind of determined to beat it. I don't really care for the way you gotta kind of just swing the sword with the joystick, and I know I could take them off, and I don't want to do any of that. Anyways, I'm not really a big fan of that game at the moment. I did beat the Forest Temple, so I'm moving on to whatever's next. But that's right where I ended. So but I will get through that one because I want to, because I'm of a mind that it somehow plays into Breath of the Wild too. So I want to at least know the story, and so that's where we're going. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, that's the whole deal.
Cool. So the other game that I've been playing, and I have very mixed feelings about this. I was literally I was on a call to Nick while I was playing this earlier. Is Shredders, the snowboarding game that came out for Game Pass this week as well? That came out today. They kind of boasted that this was a snowboarding game made by snowboarders for snowboarders. Yet it's such a clanky, janky. The guy looks stiff. It doesn't feel like it flows really well. The tutorial into getting you used to how the trick system works isn't great. You kind of get an instruction at the beginning when you start the mission or the task that you're given to do. It tells you that press this and this to do this trick. So I'm a little bit overwhelmed. Not overwhelmed. I'm a bit upset because I was really excited for this game.
You were.
It's coming. It's not great graphically. It's not brilliant. It seems really unpolished. It's got that. It's like if somebody took 1080 snowboarding and SSX, pushed them together. You've got some of the smoothness of SSX, but you've also got the polygon look around the edges of 1080 snowboarding.
And they're not trying for it, right? I mean, this isn't like an artistic direction.
Yeah. But then, when you go through the character customization, you've got some big brand names in there. So you got North Face, you got DC Shoes, Volcom, Burton. Who else was on there? GoPro there as well. The GoPro sold pretty big into Steep and Riders Republic. So you'd have thought to have the backing behind the big names that have had a game worthy enough for them to be happy about the sponsorship being there. So I don't know. It's just, it doesn't seem very well finished. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to play it a little bit more because even while I was on the call to Tunic, I was kind of getting a little bit more to grips with it.
Yeah. But if you would have heard him when he was like, this game sucks. He's like, and then he was like, well, okay, I can kind of see some stuff in this game. You definitely were coming around. I don't know if you came all the way around, but you were like, okay, maybe some stuff.
How does this one compare to Riders Republic?
The Riders Republic is a lot better.
Oh, okay.
So it flows. Riders Republic seems to flow really well. This doesn't. There's a lot of times where I feel like you could be going faster, or the way things move could be, or the way where things are placed is a lot better. I mean, one of the missions you have to jump through the big wooden O's in this sign, and it took me after I picked the kids up, it took me 45 minutes to jump through 3 wooden signs.
Wow. Is it trying to be like simulation?
Yes, it is. Okay. It's trying to be more simulated than arcade style play, which I completely understand. I get that there's the realism in it, which is why it's made by snowboarders for snowboarders. And I've seen that in Sessions and Skater XL. So I'm used to the simulation style game of stuff like that. So is Ninfrendo asks, is it like Ollie Ollie? No, it's nothing like Ollie Ollie. So, but yeah, I'll stick with it. I'll see where I get with it. I'll try and give a bit more of an uplifting feedback on it next week. So, yeah. Other than that, other than Elden Ring, Tunic, and Shredders. That's all I played. I'm kind of getting geared up for Mario Kart 8 tomorrow. So after Batman, so I have to watch Batman.
The Batman.
The Batman.
Yeah.
I just think that's hilarious. All right, take us into breaking news, man.
So yeah, other games that have come out this week. Why do I always get the hard ones to pronounce? The Dungeon of Nell Black, the Amulet of Chaos that came out this week. Or Cloud goes, I seriously think sometimes you get this really right.
The chicken edition.
The chicken edition.
Oh, what the? I don't know. I don't know anything about this game. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I don't. I'm gonna say I got too excited for Tunic and Shredders being out, so I kind of jumped.
Fair enough.
Jump through these. You've got Paradise Killer, which I think is that the one that there's a lot of reference to alcohol and drug use, and then Young Souls. So they're the other games that have come out this week.
I'm sorry we don't know a ton about these, but I will say Young Souls. I did see Justin give that props and say that's a game you might want to try. He must have. I think he got a code. They got it. Nintendo Dad's got a code for the Switch. Excuse me, my leprechaun's coming out today. That's it.
That's that. They're all the ones for this week. I mean, what's coming on the horizon? We've got Tainted Grail, which is coming March 22nd. It's currently available now for those of you that like to play PC Game Pass. So, can't remember who in the community still plays it that hasn't bought a Series S like Tim. But yeah, that's available.
With Justin actually. Justin, I don't believe has a series. Yeah, he just has. He plays streaming only or PC.
So yeah, Tainted Grail Conquest. That's out now. That's explore the ever-changing maps, fight with deadly enemies, and learn what happened to the cursed island of Avalon in this unique, infinitely replayable, story-driven hybrid between a deck-building roguelike and an RPG game.
Deck building game, that'll get some people interested. Deck building's pretty hot right now. Not me, but some people. Oh, a deck building roguelike game. Hambone, you in on a deck building rogue? I mean, let's assume you didn't have Elden Ring and probably Tunic and, whatever else. Kirby and blah, blah, blah. Would you be interested?
Yeah, I definitely give that a go. I feel like, especially a roguelike, a roguelite, try it for like an hour. And if you don't like it, you're back at the beginning anyway, so no harm, no foul, right?
That's very true. So
I gotta say, I do gotta agree with Ninfrendo. I thought this morning. Every time I see Shredders, I think, oh, it's especially with all the TMNT stuff out. I always think of TMNT, even though it's shredding snow, not shredding turtles.
They could have thought of a better name for it than Shredders.
Yeah.
Next on the list for new news, Zero Escape, the Nonary games. That's coming March 22nd as well. That's a group of strangers are kidnapped and forced to participate in a diabolical game of death. So it sounds very much like Hunger Games.
It's important to know that Nonary is with an O, not a U. Just wanted to point that out.
Oh. That was a straight copy and paste from the website.
No, you didn't get it. You didn't get it, John. It's not none like a nun, like the nun,
like your character in Elden Ring, the confessor.
Yeah. It's not that kind of nunnery. That's my point. Sorry, it wasn't
nonnery. Sorry, that's by Yorkshire's coming out. Whole roguelike infinite. Yeah. Tensions rise and situations become increasingly dire. Can you find the way out of the games, or will you pay the ultimate price? So to me, yeah, that sounds like a video game version of
like Saw.
Not Saw. I was thinking Hunger Games.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So Narco. Narco, which is March 24th. This is a available day one release to PC Game Pass. Play the Southern Gothic point-and-click narrative adventure for yourself and explore the sinking suburbs and verdant industrial swamps of a distorted South Louisiana. Your brother Blake has gone missing in the aftermath of your mother's death, and in the hopes of finding him, you must follow a fugitive security android through the refineries, strip malls, and drainage ditches of suburban New Orleans.
Ninfrendo says Nunnery is the new waifu game.
Oh, didn't waifu just get? Or was that on PlayStation? Or is that?
They're an actual
I
waifu.
don't know. There's so much stuff going on this week. I have failed to keep my ear to the ground for most games this week. So I've been drowning myself in what's coming next. So F1 2021, that's also coming out March 24th. You get that on the console via EA Play. That is a driving simulator game.
Do you care about that?
Yes and no. I've got my eye on F1 2022 because they've got the new style cars.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, this isn't an arcade game. It is very much racing simulator style game with all of your favorite Formula One drivers in last year's cars. So, Crusader Kings. It's available now via Game Pass PC and coming soon, March 29th, onto the console. That's Live the Life of a Medieval Ruler in a Paradox Development Studios award-winning strategy role-playing game. Why do they give them so big titles? What's that? Deck building roguelike RPG and then award-winning strategy role-playing game. Crusader Kings 3. Assuming the leadership of a medieval noble family, increasing its power and reputation through the generations. As one ruler dies, they're replaced by an heir who may have very different abilities or interests, forcing you to adjust your long-term plans.
This one, quite interesting. I think Sam over at RetroLogic likes this one. I've heard him talk about that a bunch.
It sounds quite interesting in the fact that as the game changes, you've got to change your game style play, which
sounds difficult. I don't think I can do it. I'm interested in Weird West.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, I thought that was like Weird West is a dark fantasy reimagining of the Wild West where your gunslingers, like cowboys and Indian style thing, meet with fantastic looking weird creatures. So I thought that was like Elden Ring meets Red Dead.
Yeah, I really like. I watched some trailer and gameplay of this one. Excuse me. I really like how zoomed out it is, and you can see the environment and like everything that's going around. And I think was there like some not quick time, like bullet time, like maybe slowing down from the the Red Dead reference there. It seems really cool. Definitely gonna check this one out.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Escape Academy, which is coming out later this year. We touched on that earlier, and then this last one at the end. I think this was a bit of a surprise because I haven't seen it anywhere other than a tweet from the developer themselves and from Steam saying that Chernobyl, which is a bit of a post-apocalyptic horror style survivor game, is coming to the next-gen consoles April 21st.
But not to Game Pass, right?
I think it is coming to Game Pass.
Oh, is it? Okay. I mean, I didn't know. I didn't see that, but you would know more than me. I'm not keeping my ear to the ground to Chernobyl Light, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I will have to fact check that and get back on it, but I hope it comes because it's one that I've kind of like been looking at and wishing I had a gaming PC to play. So. But yeah, that's all the new news. Excuse me. I'm quite tired. And I've lost my train of thought. Yeah.
Well, it's like 1:30 in the morning over there, so there's that.
12:30. We're not.
Oh, that's right. Time change.
Oh yeah, time change.
Yeah. Daylight savings for you guys has affected that. Still no more news about Stalker 2. I don't think we're going to hear any news about that for a while.
Yeah, that dude ain't coming out till next year.
So
that would.
That's all the breaking news for this week. And what's coming out. We do have one question if you want to read that
Yeah,
question out,
I can grab it. Party chat. Is there from Ebusel in Discord? Thank you so much for this question. Is there a console peripheral that you always wanted but never ended up getting?
I've got one.
Okay.
If you guys don't want to go,
I
when I was younger, I always saved my Super Nintendo box under my bed, and I'd pull it out and look at the games in the back because pre-internet days, whatever.
Sure.
And on that box was the Super Scope 6, the bazooka.
Oh yeah.
Never got it, but it looked so cool. Like I had my little orange blaster for the NES. But yeah, never got around to talking my parents into getting the Super Scope 6 for me. I heard the games weren't quite as good, but it still looked really cool. I mean, who doesn't, what 8-year-old doesn't want to fire a bazooka,
Yeah, I forgot about that thing. I never had it either, but I know what you're talking about. Did you have a Super Scope 6, Sean?
I didn't. No, I didn't even have the blaster for the NES. That was so. I never. I am probably the only person I've ever spoke to that's a Nintendo fan that has never played Duck Hunt, ever.
Oh my goodness! They have it right now. I mean, you couldn't play it with the gun, but you could play it on the NES.
Imagine if they use the infrared and the motion control. That would be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
A peripheral, a piece of equipment that I kind of wanted but never got.
Okay, you think I'll go. I have two. My first is a flight stick. I always have wanted to play. I had like a janky one back in college, but I'd love to get like a really nice flight stick for Flight Simulator. And because it's not easy, it's not smooth to move your plane with a controller. I mean, I've put in quite a few hours into Flight Simulator, and it's not great. So I'd love to get a flight stick. I also never had the Power Glove, and I've always just wanted one just to see what it like feels like and what it's all about. I never had one. So
when we were young, they marketed that thing so great, like the Power Glove. Like, why would you not want it?
I know. So those are my two.
I don't think that, and there isn't anything. I don't think. I'm really struggling because it was like I never really. There was never really until later on in life where I can buy it myself because I'm just an overly paid giant child. That I never wanted as a kid. So it's kind of like I wanted the console or I wanted the game. So, and the only thing I could say that I didn't get when I asked. That sounds really horrible. Like the one thing that I always used to, the one thing I always used to ask for as a kid, but like it never happened, was I always wanted a Game Boy. I wanted like the original Game Boy so bad as a kid. But like I asked for it for one Christmas, and my parents bought me a Game Gear. And then because I was really grateful for actually getting something, I never asked for a Game Boy ever again. But yeah, never any additional stuff. There's like things now that I wish I could have. Like I would love a full driving simulator rig, but I have responsibilities like I have some children.
Well, maybe one day. I love it. All right. What is leaving Game Pass? We have. You what?
I'm gonna say it's finally changed.
Yeah, finally. Well, I mean, yeah. 5 things. Madden NFL 20. Who cares? F1 2019. Pretty obvious because you got 21 out there now. Destiny 2 Beyond Light. It seems like they're really trying to just sweep all of Destiny right off of Game Pass. I don't know why they want to do that, but it seems to be a thing. Like every time it changes, there's some Destiny game on there. John luckily has already played Narita Boy because I'm sure he'd be just so sad to know that Narita Boy is leaving Game Pass News. And then Shadow Warrior, which I don't know anything about. Shadow Warrior 2, sorry, is leaving. So to be completely like just clear, NFL 20, Madden NFL 20, Narita Boy, and Shadow Warrior leave March 31st. Destiny 2 and F1 2019 leave April 11th and April 18th.
Yeah, Madden NFL 20 needs to go because they've got 21, haven't we?
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
No.
So, yeah.
But yeah. And as for the golden ticket, there's no change there apart from I did download SpongeBob's True or Square. I just haven't had time to play it yet. So yeah.
Good job. I need to claim the Flame in the Flood. Because I would really like to. That game was on. I've said this before, but that game was on Switch, and I thought it looked kind of interesting, and I never got to play it. So that's all I got. I think that's a show.
It is pretty much a show. I mean, do you want to take a minute, Johnny, and kind of like discuss where you've been recently and where you're going to be showing up next? Because you kind of like you've hit the mark on all the different podcasts that the Nintendo Dads run and peripherals from there. So
yeah, it's been quite a interesting last couple of weeks here. Last week or so, I was on RetroLogic with that crew over there. Tonight, about an hour from now, going on the mothership, as I like to call it, the Nintendo Dads themselves. So yeah, I am at Hambone Johnny on both Twitter and Twitch. On Twitch, I stream Wednesday and Sunday nights around 9:00 Eastern time. Try to mix in like a bunch of different games. I've got a playthrough of Super Mario Galaxy 2 going on right now on Wednesdays, and on Sundays I either play some more of that or mix in something like Elden Ring or whatever. But yeah, real casual, hanging out, welcome anybody to come out. And, we were chatting about favorite Mario games and TE the other night and like a bunch of random stuff. So having a good time. I'd love to, I'm inching my way closer to 100 followers. I think I'm at 83 right now. So if you guys can help me boost those numbers up a little bit, I definitely appreciate it. But yeah, thank you guys for having me on tonight. This was a blast. I love talking Xbox. I'm a Nintendo kid at heart, but Xbox is like right there, right behind it. So it's great to hang out with you guys and chat something that I love. So good stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, hit him up. He is so much fun to listen to, and he's always like engaging with chat. So definitely hit up Hambone. He's great. So
thank you so much. When you do your Sunday night streams, if I'm at work on bad week, it's like you are the end of my bad week. It's great because I had to jump in, chat with you for a bit, nice. And kind of like pass some time at work. So yeah,
for sure.
Awesome.
So yeah, I think that is wrapped up. It's quite a lengthy show, but we hit a lot of Elden Ring. We hit a lot of Tunic.
It is. I think this might be our longest show, but yeah, with an ID, Xbox, and everything else, it makes sense.
Yeah, you can blame me. That's fine.
That's right. Yeah, that's what we'll do.
Actually, honestly, it doesn't take much for us to keep talking. So we kind of limit ourselves sometimes to this.
If we want to be super clear, you being on the show made us get to a number we have not gotten to before, which was 15 viewers. So that is a new record for us. So nice. You brought them in. You brought them in, sir.
Sweet.
So yeah, I've got us a raid lined it up. As soon as we talked about Tunic, I thought we'd try and drag
awesome.
little set of viewers to watch Zana Gear play Tunic. I think he's pretty new to Twitch. He's currently sat there playing it with 8 viewers. So I thought
let's do it.
Drop in and say hello. So I will run us on the outro and then take this party over to him.
Sounds good.
So as always, socials at Game Pass News. That's Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. If you're listening to us via your podcasting app, please give us a like. Subscribe there if you can, or any feedback and comments. It's always worth its weight in gold to get us up that algorithm. If you want to chat with us in Discord and Mr. Hambo and Johnny, head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. A little as $1 a month will get you in, or subscribe to our Twitch page. That also gets you in there. Thanks to everybody that's in the chat, SAZ, Hambo and Johnny himself, Nifrendo, Edicel, and the Andros for chatting. And until next time, guys, we shall see you later.